Intimacy of touch with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Touched with love, caring, and nurturing at physical, mental, and emotional levels. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, touch is not a gesture, it is a vow. You don't respond to hurried affection or scattered caresses. For you, touch must come through presence, purpose, and the soft strength of commitment. It must feel true. It must feel earned. It must feel like it means something beyond the moment. Uttara Bhadrapada, rooted in the watery depth of Pisces and ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the serpent of the deep sea, holds immense psychic and emotional power. When someone touches you, you don't just register sensation, you absorb the intention. You feel the emotional undercurrent behind a hand, the tone behind a hug, the truth behind a kiss. You don't want skin, you want soul. Touch becomes intimate for you only when it honors your internal stillness. You're not aroused by flash, you're moved by felt safety. Someone who touches you while thinking of somewhere else or reaches out just to fulfill a need, they'll meet an invisible wall. But a hand that rests without pressure, a gentle forehead lean after shared silence, that's where you melt. That's where you belong. Your emotional body is slow to trust, but once it opens, you offer a kind of nourishing touch that feels timeless, anchoring, calming, maternal. You don't cling and you don't crowd. You simply stay. Your touch says you are safe here. Nothing is asked of you except your presence. You are likely drawn to still touch over motion, a quiet handhold during meditation, long cuddles that aren't rushed, or wordless closeness that lets energy recalibrate. You may even pull away from touch if it comes with tension, performance, or emotional noise. You require clean energy to open, and if something feels emotionally cluttered, your instinct is to gently but firmly retreat. In relationship, you are the anchor in the storm, the one who touches to reground, not distract. You don't use affection to fix conflict, but to hold space for healing. You often create emotional rituals around physical connection, warm blankets before bedtime, shoulder rubs during emotional conversations, or hand squeezes that say, "I'm here, I see you, keep going." To deepen this intimacy, say, "Touch me when you mean it, not when you want to distract. Reach for me when your energy is clean, not when your heart is crowded." Or, "I don't need constant affection, I need sacred contact." And let yourself be touched when love comes softly. Let it come even when you're tired, even when you don't have a smile ready. Let it land even if your mind is still sorting meaning. You don't need to be fully understood to be fully held. Because when touch is offered as sanctuary, when it doesn't demand anything but your presence, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon finds its deepest comfort. A love that touches without rushing, holds without claiming, and says, "You don't need to be more, you only need to be here." Intimacy of sensate with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, to be heard, seen, tasted, smelled at physical sensory levels. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, the senses are sacred gateways, not for indulgence, but for inner alignment. You don't chase sensation for thrill, you absorb it for resonance. Sight, sound, scent, and texture speak to your soul when they are layered with meaning, stillness, and care. You are not sensually impulsive, you are sensually attuned. This nakshatra, resting in Pisces and ruled by the deep cosmic serpent Ahi Budhnya, gives you a heightened sensitivity to subtle sensory impressions. You notice the fragrance behind someone's voice, the emotional weight in how they look at you, the shift in atmosphere when a room falls silent. You don't just observe, you absorb. You don't need your senses to be flooded, you need them to be honored. Loud noises, chaotic visuals, rushed physicality, they disorient you. But soft lighting, calming music, an intentional gaze, a warm cup held in silence, these open your inner portals. You relax only when the sensory world moves with reverence. To be seen by you is to be witnessed in essence. You register small gestures, the way someone holds their cup, how their breath shifts when vulnerable, how their eyes pause before answering. You don't look for beauty, you look for truth within the form. To be heard by you is to have your emotional frequency decoded. You're not moved by eloquence, you're moved by sincerity. Someone's tone, their hesitations, the silence between their sentences, you hear all of it. You hear their heart before their words. In intimacy, sensory moments linger long after they're gone. The warmth of someone's scarf, the soft rustle of shared sheets, the scent of skin during a deep conversation. These become permanent etchings in your emotional memory. Your body holds them like sacred texts. You offer the same in return. You speak gently, touch intentionally, and create environments where sensory safety replaces emotional performance. A space you curate becomes a refuge. Your scent, your presence, your stillness, all forming a silent invitation into deeper layers of self. To deepen this intimacy, say, "Speak to me with your tone more than your words. Let me hear your stillness. Show me your essence, not your role." Or, "I open when my senses are respected. I close when they are overwhelmed." And allow yourself to receive sensory intimacy even when it's unfamiliar. Let someone's affection in through their presence, not just their poetry. Let the human clumsiness of love be felt through their scent, their gaze, their voice, even if it isn't perfect. Because when sensation becomes soul language, when every glance and gesture is a form of care, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon feels safe to exhale. You discover that intimacy doesn't always require words. Sometimes it arrives in a shared silence, a steady hand, a room lit just right, and says, "You are fully felt, without noise, without effort, just as you are." Intimacy of kindness with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Approach should always be one of kindness and compassion, giving each other space to be individual and unique, yet caring and nurturing. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, kindness is not a social grace, it is a spiritual frequency. You are moved more by gentleness than by grand gestures, more by emotional steadiness than dramatic declarations. For you, kindness is the quiet current that holds a relationship steady across the shifting waves of life. Without it, no intimacy truly lands. This nakshatra, ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the deep, coiled serpent of the cosmic ocean, gives you immense emotional depth paired with enduring patience. You feel everything, and so you need kindness that does not poke at your sensitivity but protects it. You are soft at the core, even if your surface is serene or still. When someone offers consistent, compassionate energy, it touches you where words can't reach. You don't open quickly, but when you sense real compassion, someone who doesn't flinch when you're quiet, someone who listens without fixing, someone who honors your pace, you begin to trust. You begin to bloom slowly, like a lotus emerging from still waters. You are drawn to partners who understand the power of presence without pressure, who give you space when you pull inward and hold you when you return, who know that love is not measured in how often someone shows up, but in how kindly they do. And you offer that same quality in return. You are the one who waits beside a storm without needing to solve it. You touch your loved ones with emotional patience, never rushing their process. Your care is consistent, not conditional. Your kindness whispers, "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere." But you can't tolerate sharpness disguised as honesty or control masked as care. You withdraw from cruelty, even subtle kinds, sarcasm, criticism, emotional shortcuts. You don't need perfection in love, but you do need kindness as its foundation. Anything less feels like betrayal to your intuitive body. To deepen this intimacy, say, "Be kind to the version of me you don't yet understand. Let love arrive in softness, not strategy." Or, "Kindness is not weakness, it's the strength that keeps me open." And let yourself receive care even when you don't feel ready. Let someone's gentle attention in, even if you haven't earned it, explained yourself, or met their efforts with equal energy. Let kindness mend you quietly, because when love takes the form of deep compassion, when there is room to be flawed, to falter, to unfold without fear, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon begins to trust in human love as a reflection of divine grace. You settle into a bond that says, "You don't need to rush your becoming. I'll hold you through it, kindly, completely." Intimacy of growth with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, allowing each to grow at their own pace, yet being self-honoring, by allowing themselves to be loved and nurtured, even if it means with other partners. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, growth is not a choice, it is your rhythm. You are a soul made to evolve through layers of stillness, intuition, service, and surrender. You grow like the ocean, slow, deep, and silent, often unseen by others until transformation arrives fully formed. And so you need a love that gives you room to deepen, not just permission to change. This nakshatra, ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the serpent beneath the waters, blesses you with quiet maturity and inner devotion. You are not afraid of soul work. You are not afraid of your partner's transformation either. But you cannot thrive in a love that holds tight to old versions of you. You need a partner who can honor who you are becoming, not just who you've been. Your emotional landscape does not fear solitude. You often require space to breathe, to listen to your inner world, to shed illusions. In that space, growth happens, not just personally, but relationally. You believe love should evolve with the self, not demand that the self shrink to sustain love. You're naturally faithful, but not in a possessive or rigid way. You are loyal to the essence of a person, not their role in your life. You may even understand that some seasons of growth might involve distance, individual exploration, or unconventional support systems, including for some, the grace to receive love elsewhere without shame. Still, you need emotional integrity. Growth without care feels like abandonment, and polyphony without presence feels like betrayal. You aren't looking for endless freedom, you're looking for sacred flexibility, rooted in shared respect. You support your partner's evolution just as deeply. You'll never ask them to shrink, stagnate, or stay in an emotional form they've outgrown. You'll say, "Go where your soul leads. I'll witness you. I'll meet you again when you return, even if you come back changed." But the hardest part for you is receiving love while in the middle of your own becoming. You often feel you must first be healed, settled, or worthy before allowing others to nurture you. Yet your soul lesson is this: you are worthy of being loved during the in-between, not just after the becoming. To deepen this intimacy, say, "Grow beside me, not around me. Let us evolve together, even if we do so in different directions. Let love not bind, but bless our change." Or, "Even if I don't fully understand your path, I trust your need to walk it." And let love find you as you unfold. Let someone hold you while you're uncertain. Let them love the seed, the sprout, the bloom, and the decay. Let growth happen inside connection, not always outside of it. Because when growth is not feared but welcomed, when it's honored as holy, not threatening, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon experiences its truest intimacy. A love that says, "I do not need you to stay the same. I only ask that you keep showing up, with your soul still honest and your heart still open." Intimacy of activity with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. To be honoring of oneself and the other, in what and with whom they want to participate in activities, without any force or compulsion. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, activity is never just motion, it's meaning. You are not built for distraction or constant social engagement. Your emotional body only enters into shared experience when there's quiet intention or soulful resonance. You engage when something feels right, not because it's expected, not because it's tradition, and never because it's demanded. This nakshatra, ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the deep serpent of cosmic depth, carries a meditative frequency. You don't rush toward events, you drift inward before choosing how and where to show up. And when you do participate, you do so with presence, not performance. You are nourished by activities that restore you. Long nature walks, reading in shared silence, deep spiritual discussions, or preparing food as a form of ritual. You gravitate toward the sacred mundane, spaces where activity becomes communion, where action isn't just doing, but being with. You need to feel that your energy isn't being siphoned, it's being honored. So when you're expected to constantly participate in your partner's routines, attend every social event, or be on all the time, you recede. Not in rebellion, but as a form of spiritual recalibration. Your nervous system does not respond to emotional or social compulsion. You need freedom to say no without guilt, but when your rhythm is respected, you give yourself fully. You'll show up with devotion, offer deep support, bring quiet magic to the shared space. Not because you were forced, but because your spirit chose to. And that to you is the highest form of love. You extend the same to your partner. You don't tie intimacy to sameness. You don't need to do everything together to feel bonded. You allow them their hobbies, their solitude, their friendships, their creative time. You understand that parallel freedom is more nourishing than forced unity. To deepen this intimacy, say, "Let us meet in the activities where both our energies feel welcome. And let us release what doesn't honor either of us." Or, "Togetherness is sacred when chosen, not when expected." And allow yourself to say yes more often if the moment feels right. Don't overprotect your solitude. Sometimes activity can be healing too. Even if it's simple, even if it's shared silence in a moving car, it can still feed your emotional body. Because when activity is not a performance, but a peaceful co-creation, when your autonomy is preserved and your presence is never pressured, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon feels seen. You remember that you're not meant to be everything for everyone, but everything you offer in truth is already enough. A love that says, I'll meet you where our energies align. No pushing, no pleasing, just presence. Intimacy of allowance with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, to allow each to be who and what they are at any given moment, day or week of their life, knowing that one is not a master or slave of another. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, allowance is your love language. You don't bloom under scrutiny. You open in stillness. Your emotional being flows like the tide, quietly, deeply, and at its own pace. You cannot be rushed into expression or contained by expectation. And so you thrive in a relationship where you are allowed to be a mystery some days, a mirror on others, and a storm on the rest. This nakshatra, rooted in the final waters of Pisces and ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the serpent of the deep, blesses you with quiet dignity. You hold immense emotional depth, yet rarely ask to be seen. You want a partner who notices you without invading you, who witnesses without interpreting, who says, be what you are today, I'll be here. You don't need constant emotional analysis or forced vulnerability. You need room, space to feel foggy, to be distant, to wander into your spiritual currents and resurface when clarity returns. You need the grace to say, I don't have words for this yet, and still be met with love. And you offer the same gift in return. You don't rush your partner into fixed identities. You don't demand emotional predictability. You hold space for their inner weather, honoring both the sunlight and the storm. You see the soul, not the mood, the essence, not the behavior. But what you cannot tolerate is control, subtle or overt. Being expected to perform, to explain your internal shifts, or to behave according to someone else's emotional script feels like suffocation. You may comply outwardly, but inside you disappear. You become unreachable, not out of punishment, but preservation. Your intimacy deepens when both you and your partner can say, I trust who you are, even when I don't recognize your current shape. I don't need your clarity to love you in your complexity. To deepen this intimacy, say, allow me to ebb and flow. Don't hold me hostage to yesterday's self. Let our love hold space, not demand shape. Or, who we are today may not be who we are tomorrow. And that's not a threat. It's a miracle. And let yourself be allowed. Let your partner love you when you're not useful, when you're unclear, when you're not returning energy. Let them sit beside your silence without trying to fill it. Let them accept what simply is. Because when love becomes space, not structure, when allowance becomes the altar of your shared life, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon exhales. You come home to a love that does not fear your changes, but honors your becoming. A love that says, you owe me nothing but your truth. However it arrives, whenever it's ready. Intimacy of giving with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Knowing and being that all love originates in the act of giving safety of space, nurturing and caring. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, giving is not about offering more. It's about offering rightly. You give not from performance, not to win love, not to fix discomfort, but to create a sanctuary. Your giving is quiet, intentional, and profoundly nourishing. It says, you can breathe here. You don't need to be anything else for me to care. This nakshatra, governed by Ahi Budhnya, the serpent resting deep beneath the ocean floor, makes your emotional giving steady, unseen, and powerful. You are the one who remembers someone's nervous system more than their words, the one who anticipates what's needed before it's spoken. Your instinct is not to impress, it's to hold. You don't give through spectacle or emotional inflation. You give through presence, a warm cup in the middle of grief, a blanket brought to a tired body, a glance that steadies someone mid-shame. Your love doesn't announce itself, it surrounds. But your giving must flow from a place of abundance, not sacrifice. If you feel unseen, misunderstood, or emotionally overextended, your waters pull inward. You become distant not from punishment, but because your inner well must refill through stillness. You cannot give from depletion, your soul knows better. You are sensitive to whether your gifts are received with gratitude or expectation. If someone begins to treat your tenderness as a transaction, you'll feel it instantly. You withdraw silently. Your care must be honored, not consumed. And in love, you are the silent healer. the one who gives comfort without condition. You don't demand appreciation, but you notice absence of presence. The smallest lack of mindfulness from your partner can make you feel like your offerings are falling into emptiness. What you most desire is a love that says, I feel your care, I feel your thoughtfulness, I feel your love, even when you say nothing. You don't measure your giving by quantity, but by energetic precision. You may give little, and it changes everything. You may say few words and yet recenter an entire relationship. To deepen this intimacy, say, I give to create safety, not to seek reward. Meet me in that same vibration. Let our care not be counted, but felt. Or let us give from overflow, not fear. Let every gesture be a quiet prayer of presence. And let yourself give without guilt and without guarding. When you feel emotionally safe, when your soul is not surveilled, your capacity for nurturance is infinite. Let your love move without apology, like a current flowing toward those who are truly ready to receive. Because when giving becomes sacred, not strategic, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon blooms. You become the kind of lover who gives not things, not tasks, not noise, but space, safety, soul presence. A love that says, you don't have to hold it all alone. I am here, and I'm not leaving. Intimacy of receiving with moon in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Knowing and being. That intimacy is an act of receiving with gratitude and originates in the inner feeling of being abundant in giving, receiving another at all levels of physical, emotional, and mental levels. With the moon in Uttara Bhadrapada, receiving is a quiet act of surrender, one that feels just as intimate as giving, but far more vulnerable. You are the silent caretaker, the deep empath, the one who often gives without asking, holds without needing to be held. But when it comes time to receive, to truly let someone love you in your rawness, you hesitate. Not from pride, but from depth. You know what love means, and you won't open to it casually. This nakshatra, ruled by Ahi Budhnya, the serpent of the deep coiled at the root of existence, endows you with profound emotional reservoirs and ancient psychic wisdom. You can feel love's purity or distortion before it arrives. You intuit its intention, its emotional weight, its hidden subtext. So receiving for you is not just about being open, it's about being safe. You want to receive love that is clean, untainted by expectation, free of strings, untouched by ego. A hand offered without agenda, a word spoken with no edge, a gesture made with genuine care. These break through your still waters and reach your core. Yet even when love is offered rightly, you might struggle to let it in. You've been the strong one, the quiet one, the anchor. And part of you fears that to be held is to risk being misunderstood or worse, dependent. But the truth is, receiving is not weakness. It is the sacred completion of intimacy's cycle. You long for a love that gives without needing you to explain. A partner who says, you don't have to earn this, you don't have to match me, just rest, just receive. That kind of love nourishes your lunar soul in ways no effort ever could. When you do receive, it transforms both you and the giver. You receive deeply, fully. You don't just hear words, you absorb them. You don't just accept touch, you imprint it. Your gratitude is silent but immense. Your eyes say what your mouth rarely does. Thank you for seeing me without making me perform. To deepen this intimacy, say, let me receive love without evaluation, without the need to fix, to respond, to balance the scale. Or love me without strategy and I'll receive you with soul. And allow yourself to be loved in the in-between, in the messy, in the soft. Don't wait to be perfect to be nurtured. Let affection reach you now, in your half-spoken thoughts, your tired spirit, your sacred disarray. Because when receiving becomes not burden, not performance, but quiet allowing, your Uttara Bhadrapada moon is finally fed. You remember that being held is holy, and that love, when offered without demand, can enter your depths like rain into the ocean, not changing its stillness, only blessing it. A love that says, you don't have to give anything right now, just be, and let my love meet you where you are.